50 pulled up with the cups and the cake. Count a few bucks when the money inflates. I ain't in a rush cause we did it my way. But there's money right here, so you better not trip. Oh, yeah. Shawty don't trip, yeah. Shawty don't trip, check. Shawty don't, ayy, yeah. Shawty don't trip, shawty don't trip, yeah. Shawty don't trip.
Hi there, friends. Welcome back to the Toronto Home Series. It is Stage 2, Day 2. How about our first series? That was insane. Maybe we can top it, possibly. Paris Legion taking on the Minnesota Røkkr here for our final match of the day. Myself and Study here to bring you the action. Study, I don't know about you, but I almost needed a breather. I'm glad we kind of got a few minutes to kind of be able to undertake what we just witnessed. How insane was that last series, man?
Man, I'm still at a loss for breath, man. I can't even believe that went all the way to a round 11, game number 5. Obviously, the Thieves walk away with it, but for a debut out of Insight, that's exactly how you want to do it.
Absolutely. A great debut coming in from Insight. Like I said, we'll see if maybe this series can live up to the hype. Let's go and meet our first team, the Paris Legion.
Wonderful start here from Paris Legion. Paris Legion just about pushed that player off the hard point.
Can they clutch up and go big?
Classic just being aggressive in the plane.
Fire's got to get on the bomb, and he will. He finds the kill.
Unbelievable stuff.
Awkward from the back end, able to pick up 3 along the way.
Paris Legions.
What a round.
And those are your Paris Legion. Excited to see this team moving into Stage 2, Study, to kind of start things off.
Yeah.
A lot of people had them toward the bottom of the ranks, but they really kind of started to impress us kind of toward the end of Stage 1. They don't perform great when we talk about the major, but a lot of key points, a lot of high notes coming into this team right now.
Yeah, a lot of high notes indeed, man, especially their hardpoint game. Obviously, their record is 6-4, but they are 4-0 on Garrison hardpoint, which really boosts that stat for them. We talk about this team being a phenomenal hardpoint team, but today they're going to be able to show it. You have Stage 2, so you had some time to practice on some of your weaker maps, and hopefully, since they do not have Garrison hardpoint in this series, they're able to show that.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see the way this group looks again coming into Stage 2. I know there's a lot of hype around this team kind of coming into to this next stage, but we talk about pick'ems real quick.
Yeah.
You got the same colors actually right now as Legion. Any coordinates there? Any connection possibly?
No, absolutely not. I'm going Minnesota Røkkr here.
I like it.
3-1. I know Minnesota.
Okay.
Hopefully, it's going to be a totally different team that we saw from Stage 1. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Well, Study, he's building them up, and for good reason. Let's go ahead and meet now our next team. Put your hands together for the Minnesota Røkkr. Look at your Minnesota Røkkr what Study. When we talk about this team kind of alongside the same note as Paris, again, kind of one of the bigger shocks at the major. These guys finished top 10. They lose the Battle of the North versus the Ultra, and didn't really look as good in Search and Destroy in that particular series. But tell me, man, what do you think about the Røkkr right now? Thoughts coming into Stage 2 for them, their first match as well?
Well, they definitely have the best intro video out of all the CDL teams, but they do have the worst hardpoint out of all the CDL teams. Currently, they are 2-7 on the entire season throughout Stage 1. Obviously, with Stage 2, that needs to be improved. You need players to step up. One player that we were looking at specifically was Priestahh. So far, throughout that Stage 1, he was sitting at like a .88. When you're talking about a player from his caliber, we expect a lot better. So hopefully throughout Stage 2, these guys have put it all together, especially in that hard point, so they can start winning a couple of those.
Eddie, I don't know if you see it. Express S&D. We just got to get to a game 5.
Yes.
That's all it takes. We literally have been so hyped, hoping that we would get an Apocalypse or an Express S&D. Of course, 2 new maps coming in the rotation for Stage 2. Absolutely awesome. Love me some Apocalypse. And great to see Express be brought back. But me and you, we had a nice little film session the other day watching some old games. We won't go into detail as for which one wholesale. Anyway, Game 1 Hardpoint coming up next on some Raid. Again, we talk about this map in particular for both of these teams. For Minnesota, Raid 1-1. For the Paris side, 1-3. So again, Paris, I know you talked about it, highlighted it super well. That hardpoint stat of them kind of being one of the best teams in the game sits heavily when we talk about Garrison, but we'll see how they fare off now in their worst hardpoint at 1-3. It's going to be a fun one. Here we go.
We're going to hop right on board with Priestahh. This is the player that needs to step up. .88 throughout the entire Stage 1. He's going to be in this hard point nice and early. Kills are going back and forth. 2 kills actually go in favor of Minnesota. So they're trying to work for this middle, trying to gain some time, and eventually trying to flip those spawns. 3 are going to drop now for Minnesota. This is the opening for the Paris Legion. They can get some time now on this P1.
They definitely can. Aqua off to a nice start, 3-0 for him, and he's kind of been the sneaky player for Legion. I mean, he's without a doubt having one of the best years, or one of the best kind of titles, I guess you could say, out of a lot of players. Like, in terms of like stats right now, for Aqua, he's number 4 in overall KD, he's number 3 in hardpoint, number 6 in control. So from a respawn perspective, he has been that guy for Legion, and again, has kind of sneakily had a great year for them. But P1 going the way of Røkkr, last few seconds about to go in their hands, but it will be the Legion now setting up for next. Classic finding a big one from the front, now has a more difficult task of taking down Accuracy and Priestahh from the flank. Again, we'll see how that kind of meta starts to evolve. Krieg for Accuracy, no surprise there, but it's a nice trade. Legion winning the overall fights in the feed.
Yeah, so Legion were able to hold that from the front side, eliminate both players from the back, so now they're going to be getting those back spawns for this kitchen hardpoint. Going to see Minnesota trying to work around one side, attach is going to drop, so now they decide to flood through front. But all the kills are going in favor of Minnesota. It's coming down to the last couple of seconds on this hardpoint. Eventually, Minnesota going to have to start thinking about this rotation. Aqua's currently 7-1 on a 4 spree. You do not want to give this guy streaks nice and early, because it can completely change the game.
Well, it absolutely can. Especially with a map like Raid, you got a lot of open areas to work with. A big kill coming in from Priestahh, so that will silence things for now. Another big 1v1 off the rotation as MajorManiak winning that fight. That will give Minnesota spawns, and kind of based off the way that Kitchen looked, you're really hoping to have a good setup when we talk about next. But I know you kind of talked about it earlier, but I really am looking at Priestahh, as Attach does end up dropping toward Mansion side. I'm looking at Priestahh to have a big series, really kind of a big Stage 2. I know he is a guy that we talk about constantly, the Swiss Army knife of Call of Duty. He can run pretty much any role, but the 74U just hasn't been there. I know you called it out like a .88. I know respawns have a big part to play in that when we talk about stats, but I'm looking at him to kind of be the difference maker, to give Røkkr maybe even a better stage than they saw last time around.
Yeah, we definitely need him to step up, because we see the consistency out of Attach. He's basically sitting over a 1.0 on every single category when they are winning. So he needs a duo, and Priestahh has the capability to definitely be that. Fortunately for Stage 1, it wasn't the performance that he wanted, but Stage 2 so far, starting off on a high note. They're going to be up 20 points from this garage hill. Now it's all about trying to break towards basketball. You see 2 players from Minnesota trying to work around the backside, but Fire trying to slow down that push. Accuracy on a 5 spree, able to open up with that first kill. He's just trying to play his life, work around this backside, but is he going to know that there's going to be a player in garage? He's going to drop. And here come 2 players from Paris Legion. So far, they have been holding this well.
Minnesota starting to fall a little bit early. We'll see how they start to rebound when it comes down to the basketball court hill. Let's go to an Astro listening with the Røkkr.
Dead. Close one shot. There's two hills.
Alright, they can fire an ult. They can fire an ult.
Okay. I'm gonna go you rotate.
Any trophies? Any trophies?
I'm gonna come there.
Come here.
I got it.
They probably do. No one's water steps. I'm going top ring. One's pillars.
They're too old. They're both weak.
One is
Push me out.
Money, dead.
Nick ran up basketball. He's gonna go L or kitchen.
Where's scraps?
Scraps dead.
Good job.
Nice.
I'm
We're trying to get ready.
He might go back laundry.
Oh, they're spawning laundry side. Okay.
Yeah. You
Okay,
I have your water. I have your water.
I can help you
kitchen.
kitchen. I'm
In
holding left,
Tiki,
guys.
in
Top
Tiki.
laundry, Nick.
Tiki weak.
Two on the left, guys.
Two left, one back kitchen.
Oh, two ring. One's close ring and one's
I'll get our
out.
pinch.
Water fire.
I'll pick up your water.
Pillars and Tiki.
One is water.
left. He ran up water stairs. 2 trophies on time.
He's still water. Hit me.
I'm helping you left.
Right side hill,
Fires
top
one
ring.
shot.
Right side
Fires
hill, top
water
ring.
stairs one shot.
I'm gonna go top bar. I'm gonna go top bar.
I'm going around water
Top
again.
ring.
I'm going around water again.
Oh, wall banging for you.
Fire was water stairs, guys.
Alright, I'm looking for it.
Still up there. One shot.
I'm seeing one step.
Water stairs.
You have a trophy on time.
You got him?
Fire
I'll see
stairs.
one
Water stairs. One shot.
Kitchen.
Fire water steps dead.
Kitchen dead.
Low stairs and low rock. Pull stairs.
Ring, I spawn ring.
Low rock. They're spawning garage. Hold the pinch.
I'll hold it. Water stairs, Yuli's.
I know over hill. They can be art.
Two water stairs.
Okay.
I
Get
just
my
start
art side.
Get 6 here.
I don't see him water stairs. Water stairs, Yuli dead.
Nice.
One jungle. I'm gonna heal back here.
I have your close.
I can help.
I have the help.
They can go bottom or top bar.
I have your close still. I'll shoot
I'm
him
playing on
close,
this
okay?
side then.
Driveway.
Scraps that left.
Bottom art.
Looking bottom art. He could get top.
I don't have pillars. I'm looking
Yeah,
back.
bottom art. Classic.
Yeah, I don't see anyone else
Yeah,
back
there's
there.
two art. I got one.
You can help him.
Yeah, top art.
Yeah, Nick's top.
Top dead.
Nice. Shoot that. Looking for Yuli and
Yuli dead.
Nice.
job.
Fire. Or
After the first set of rotations, it's been pretty much Paris all throughout. Study? When we talked about Minnesota Røkkr, Hardpoint has not been a strong suit for them. 2-7 record. Obviously the worst currently in the CDL. Did you take anything away from the comms? Like, is there something that maybe is just missing right now after that first set of rotation?
Well, no, just listening to the comms, it all sounds like it's all there. But it's just the setup that they have. Once one player drops and a player has to rotate to pick up that positioning, it's just not working in their favor. They were fully set up for that P5 hardpoint. Paris, all they had to do is just win 2 gunfights and eventually play the traits at that point to break it. So if you're Minnesota, you just got to work on better security when you're talking about these setups. One player drops, someone needs to be able to fill that gap so you don't flip the spawns and have the potential to break it. But they bounce back on this P1 hardpoint. Priestahh currently on a 5 spree. We're talking about the young man, how he needs to play better for this team to have success, especially in a map and a mode like Hardpoint. You see him work around the backside. He's going to run into scraps. Unfortunately, he's going to drop. All the Minnesota players trying to work around the back. They were able to drop 1. So now Aqua's going to be the only player left in his Hardpoint. He's going to drop, and that was a great break out of the Røkkr there.
Yeah, great break coming in from Minnesota. Again, for Legion, we're talking about how this could be a great hill for them. This can where they really can start to kind of distance the game. Priestahh goes big over at P1, and then rotation for P2. They, without a doubt, bought themselves a ticket back in this game, and they're even going to take the lead, it appears. Fire from the front, really no teammate support from either side. It was a sole man mission as he falls. Scraps really in the rotation back now toward garage, which is what Paris has to focus on now. They'll start to, in some ways, fade back, try to keep some map positioning, but if you do look, player 5, player 6 from Paris, they actually spawn out here at this old hill, a common spawn that does occur sometimes here over on Raid, a massive gunfight going down between the ARs. Accuracy versus Aqua teammate support here for both of these teams. Priestahh drops accuracy, he falls as well. Paris able to stay alive as they regain spawns now for next.
Aqua just did everything that he can. He won 3 major gunfights off that rotation. I thought Attach, when he was rotated towards that water side, he was able to win that first gunfight and eventually try to flip those spawns for his team. But like I said, Aqua going huge on that van, was able to stay alive and eventually have the setup. But as I say that, Minnesota Røkkr, 3 go down. Aqua's going to be the only one left here. 4 go down now for Paris. Now Minnesota are going to be fully set up and have the potential to take this lead going into that P4. But look at number 4, who's Priestahh. He was off the rotation. He's going to drop the scraps. So that's going to slow down the push for Minnesota just a little bit.
Yeah, some really good hills. Again, it's kind of in the situation of like early, we're talking about Legion playing great, able to kind of get some nice breaks, but it's been Minnesota as of recent who've been able to do it. Now the rotation coming in toward basketball. So we've got ourselves pretty much a tie game, especially based off the early seconds that Legion are most likely going to be able to muster. But can Røkkr do it again? Attach, just a solid player for them in all of stage 1, positive in every game mode in particular. As he ends up falling, really 3 go down in the feed. Last player up is MajorManiak. Granted that QBZ is great, especially in his hands, but he's going to try to buy some time, wait for the teammates, try to go for a push. PaulEhx off of this hill. That's a great kill coming in from fire from one side or the other. Minnesota, they've got to try and break in. Things are starting to get out of hand, and Classic earlier on was able to gain those streaks. Can Minnesota get in time? They're pretty much running right into the blender. They can clearly win it here. Minnesota, they have to get their feet inside of the hill. Is anybody even going to be there for the possible challenge? 2 seconds, 1 second, and this one belongs to PaulEhx.
Oh, man. Like I said, man, we went for that listening. It just came down to they were communicating perfectly. It just came down to the setups when they needed to hold. And unfortunately, PaulEhx Legion has always had that opening, knew exactly how they wanted to execute that break, and they got it done every single time. So Aqua going huge right there in that P3 hard point to just basically give PaulEhx Legion a couple more seconds so they had the ability to win on that basketball hill. Like I said, man, the continued woes from Minnesota. When you talk about that hard point game mode, now they found themselves down 0-1 in this series versus PaulEhx Legion. But the good thing is, they are the second best team overall throughout the entire CDL in Search and Destroy, going up against PaulEhx Legion, who are the second worst overall team in Search and Destroy. So, Search and Destroy for Minnesota Røkkr has always been their backbone. Hopefully, they're able to bounce back on this map number 2.
Yeah, actually, it is kind of somewhat of a negative, right? You're looking at that first hard point. You're saying, hey, guys, we're not really great at hard point. But on this map, Legion really haven't been either. It's kind of, by definition, their worst hardpoint map. But again, there is still some light for the Minnesota Røkkr looking at that next Search and Destroy. Really just looking at that next game mode, which of course is going to be Search and Destroy. That one going down on Miami. And again, I know we talked about it not long ago. And that Battle of the North that went down between Minnesota and Toronto. Minnesota lost that one 6-1. So at least as of late, Miami hasn't been the greatest for them. But hey, again, we'll see how this series starts to line out. Will PaulEhx grab the early 2-0 lead, or will Minnesota answer back in their best game mode? We'll find out in just a moment.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by GameFuel. Use code CDL2021 for a special discount on GameFuel.com. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League. Coming into the 2021 season with a statement. That's a 3-0 over the LA Thieves.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the CDL. We just showed the pick'ems, and I am terrified. I was giving some, I was talking some smack yesterday, not feeling so great. Regardless, let's go and get, it's our Game Fuel keys to victory. Starting things off with the Minnesota Røkkr. Study, what do you got?
They just got to be better at hardpoint, man, going into stage 2. And right there, they dropped the very first one. So that puts them at 2-8 overall throughout the season. Worst overall throughout the entire CDL. Priestahh needs to take over like we know he can. 0.88 overall KD. We're talking about it, man. This is a young player who needs to be that X factor for this team. And don't play players on Garrison hardpoint. That key to victory, well executed right there from the Minnesota Røkkr. Even though they do drop that map number 1, those keys to victory are on point, man. Hardpoint is not the best game mode. Priestahh is not really having the performance that we're used to seeing, but they're going into a search and destroy. They have to be better.
Yeah, absolutely have to be better. Let's go and get now into our keys to victory, Gameful keys to victory here for Paris. First, Scraps and Aqua need to keep being that 1-2 punch. These guys have been absolutely great for Paris all stage long, at least in regards to stage 1. Also, need to improve in the search and destroys coming into stage 2. Røkkr, of course, one of the best teams in the mode. And then lastly, try to get raid out of the vetoes as they are 3-7 in all raid modes combined. They're able to win the first raid over in Hardpoint. They will have that control for game number 3. But again, it's kind of this ever continuous conversation. Legion haven't been great in S&D, good in Hardpoint. Røkkr, not been great in Hardpoint, but good in S&D. So again, we kind of have this back and forth situation. Legion, they're able to walk away with the game mode that most of us expected that they could. Now the chips fall into Røkkr's lap. Search and destroy at times, and there's been a lot of conversations about this study. It can kind of be worrisome, right, to kind of rely on a mode like S&D from time to time, especially with, you never know, like the timings, the way that certain strategies work out, the way the maps can play from time to time. Sometimes it can be worrisome to rely on a game mode like this, but Minnesota, they've been able to do it. Again, we talked about it last time around that they saw Miami. Wasn't too great for them, but you trust these 4 guys in a mode like this, especially considering that Paris, this has been a mode to forget, to put it lightly.
Yeah, but if you're Paris Legion, just gotta go back and watch that VOD from that major where Toronto just made Minnesota Røkkr look silly on this map. Beat them 6-1. So hopefully they're able to gain that information going into this map. It's looking like Paris Legion right off the rip are going to commit towards that A site. They were able to get the player that was crossing over towards boat, so that's going to eliminate 1 line of sight for Priestahh. You see that number 8 player in fire, just playing that late flank, making sure that no players from the Røkkr are able to push that late flank. But so far, Paris Legion are playing this aggressive. They're trying to get straight up towards that A bomb. Classic's going to eat that nade, but the bomb should be able to go down. But MajorManiak with the second. Now it's going to be a 3v3.
It's great nade coordination. Again, if you're Røkkr, you're not even revealing, just as I say that, of course, MajorManiak goes down. But hey, in that particular fight, not revealing themselves at the moment, had the 3-3 count, but now we find ourselves where Legion up in the 3v2. Again, bomb dropped in the middle of the plant from Classic. Attach brought low accuracy there for the support fire. Able to find a nice pick on the Scraps, also stays alive. So this one now coming down Aqua and Fire. Time's starting to tick away, and Fire realizes, I got to get myself right over to that bomb site. Aqua with the plant. Attach is going to read it. Great plays coming in from him. And also takes down Fire as well. A great sequence coming in from Dylan Price as Røkkr able to come away with a 2v3 clutch.
Yeah, that round is a lot on accuracy right there. He gained that information that the bomb was going to be planted. Hits the first nade, calls out to his teammate MajorManiak, who hits the second Semtex to get that bomb down on the site. Fire then opens up with a great second kill, forces it into a 4v2, but the entire time accuracy was just staying alive, going back and forth between those windows. Got some great timing on the Scraps to force it to a 2v2 and eventually closes out the round. Good defensive hold right there out of the Røkkr, even though they did drop a player nice and early. Let's see what they're able to do on this offense.
And we've seen Legion play Miami a decent amount of times. There's been kind of this known strategy about them that they do like to hold sites heavily on defense. Oftentimes they'll kind of send 4 straight. A lot of coordination early on in top piano, as it will equal out to a trade. So Minnesota presence is known. Player 7 though, not biting just as of yet. Aqua's still hanging out over at that other site. So it will actually be an equal fight over here at B, but again, search and destroy, it's a game of numbers, and that rotation now coming in from player 4. Priestahh grabbing that bomb, just wants to make sure he's got clearance to cross through the street, and once they cross through the street, they should be somewhat aware that A, somewhat open, probably going to have at least one player in this position. The one problem is that it happens to be one of the best ARs right now in the game. Aqua finding one early.
Aqua did not give up his positioning the entire time. He actually repositioned himself to basically give up complete mid-map control for his teammates. But him just staying alive right there, eventually able to close out that round for Paris Legion, was so huge, man. Once again, you've seen the aggressive play from Minnesota. They were able to open up with another first blood. But Paris Legion, like I said, man, not hesitating, not changing positionings. Aqua knew exactly what he needed to do. Just make sure that they kept them off of that bomb site. Opening up with that first blood right there, eventually getting the second. Good defensive hold right there out of the Legion.
And I know, like, in, you know, prior search and destroy history, like, rotating a bomb, like, win percentage has got to be very low. But on Miami, like,
yeah,
I don't even, it's probably, it's got to be very, it's got to be, like, severely low. Like, if you're trying to rotate on Miami, especially in these last few rounds that we've been able to see, last few games, the statistic has got to be pretty short. But Priestahh, nice early kills. The SMGs happening on both sides of the map, not just the beach, but also the street as well. Fire catches a nade, but meanwhile, it's Classic who's able to have the final laugh for the moment. 2 versus 2. Somewhat of a free sight over at B if Aqua vends to get there in time. The big engagement going down, and accuracy, he's able to win it.
So now it's Aqua left in a 1v2. 40 seconds are going to be remaining on this clock. He knows the positioning out of accuracy. Just has to try to locate Priestahh. He's throwing shoulders outside of purple. Eventually going to work right up the middle of the map. Neither one of the Røkkr players are going to be able to spot him. So you're going to see him jump over this wall. He has to eventually work for that bomb plant. Just checking every angle that he possibly can. You see Priestahh starting to move in closer towards that B site. Eventually, he's going to be top purple. Aqua should be dropped here in just a second. Priestahh taking his time right there, just giving up that bomb plant. Well executed right there out of the Minnesota Røkkr on that defensive hold.
Good place for Minnesota, winning the situations that they should. I feel like after last game, I just don't know when to like assume that a clutch should not actually come inbound with how crazy Insight was played that we saw in Miami. For those that missed it, go back and watch the VOD. I mean, seriously, Insight, his debut for Toronto, it was insane. Making a number of different near clutches, we'll say that, near clutches on Miami. No spoilers, of course, chat. We know that you guys want to give spoilers away to those who haven't seen the prior series. But hey, Minnesota starting things off well, obviously grabbing the 2-1 advantage. And we'll see, we've seen a few A looks. I'm assuming we'll kind of head back to B as typical, but maybe not. At least accuracy. Ready to go for the early challenge. Over toward that mid-street position. Of course, for an AR like him, you like your chances there. But Fire, really aggressive play, and he's going to pay for it. Priestahh able to find the first, but Classic going to hold things down for his fallen comrade as the nade from MajorManiak hits the asphalt right in front of him as he goes flying. Attach thankfully ends up getting the return. In the meantime, one player actually making the way up the hallway. I know that accuracy's here. Is he going to be able to read that Aqua's on his flank? Not going to happen. And again, trade after trade would be a big kill if Attach is able to win it, but he's not. Aqua finds the final 2. And speaking of 2s, we're level at it.
You see the way that the Paris Legion decided to play their defensive right there. They had Fire and Classic push out aggressively towards that garage side. Classic played that beautifully. I know that Fire lost his first gunfight to Priestahh. He was able to trade that and then eventually puts a couple shots into MajorManiak as he was trying to throw that Semtex. Eventually kills himself with his own grenade. Classic takes down 2, turns into a 2v2. Then Aqua, great flanks onto accuracy, great read onto Attach to close out that round. Now you're going to have Paris Legion going in on their offense. See Scraps jumping onto the top of this bus, just trying to make sure no players from Minnesota are rushing in towards top purple. But the positioning out of Minnesota right here can cause trouble for Paris Legion. You're going to see Attach deciding to back down from that garage push. MajorManiak also changing his positioning. So far, Paris Legion is trying to find an opening. All 4 players are here. So this is going to be the commit push.
Commit push indeed. All about the timings. When can you find that nice pick early on? They know where the players are going to be positioned, but MajorManiak, nice angle for him. Not able to walk away with the shot. The trophy's making life difficult, as they tend to do. Classic. Go and type in his best combination, as there goes accuracy for the first. Attach. Nice response, and they know that Classic's on the bomb. The nade comes in to try and distance him off. That gives Classic some timing, but Fire ends up falling. Clasic's able to win a big 1v1, but now it comes down to scraps. One player who wasn't over at the site, and one player was on the flank, isn't able to read it. Scraps again with that QBZ, 18 seconds left. See what MajorManiak and co have cooked up. In time, starting to get away. Scraps not able to hold things down. MajorManiak goes for the read, wins the nice challenge. Major with the 74U. Not the typical weapon, but it works there.
Works out there indeed. If you're the Røkkr, it's a great defensive hold. You gave him that B bomb site. PaLEhx Legion had that down. 45 seconds 4v4 retake, and they executed well. Came down to attach though. MajorManiak and attach were working really well on towards Classic onto that bomb site. Classic was able to take down attach, but great shots for MajorManiak underneath the van to get him one shot and eventually traded to close out that round number 5. Now you're going to have PaLEhx on their defensive hold this time. It's looking like Minnesota are going to decide to change up their play and take this bomb site over towards A. So Aqua's going to have his hands full once again. But with all the information that these guys are getting in this purple building, they should get the heads-up call that it's going to be an A push.
But his accuracy does find that early first blood over at B. Keep in mind, he's the only player from Minnesota at the bottom of the map that could hold on to a few PaLEhx players here. I know, kind of given the positioning, Aqua's now going to be able to get somewhat of an intel. They're saying, hey, we got one guy at B at least, we got one guy at A. Aqua getting some more visuals is going to be able to supply the necessary call-outs, but PaLEhx then to go for the 2v1 challenge onto accuracy, so they will win it, evening the man count up. And again, it comes down a lot of the times to that trusty AR who has to play the time and also try to find the picks. Oh, and how about that? Using the porthole? Okay. Nice angles coming in from Aqua. Unfortunately, not seeing anything. The long visual down to the other side of the boat. Some shots coming in to attach. Again, the visual's looking good, but how about the angle coming in from Dylan Price? There's one, there's two. Back-to-back headshots. Aqua, it's been his side of the map all game long, but it's Røkkr winning a few in a row, but that's 2 straight for them and grabbing the solid advantage off of what is a nice 2-piece coming in from attach.
Yeah, and that play is a lot on accuracy right there. Being the island player that he is, he was able to open up the first blood all the way across the map, so that has the PaLEhx Legion players staggered. What do they want to do? Are they coming B? Are they going A? Eventually, at that point, it was too late, so they commit towards the flank, taking out accuracy, but time was just ticking. Minnesota Røkkr had better positioning right there, able to close out that offensive round. 2 rounds away from closing this out and having a tied series at 1-1. PaLEhx Legion looking like they're just going to take this one slow. They're going to give up complete purple control. That one player working towards the outskirts, accuracy, trying to stay alive in that top window. Comes a couple tacticals coming in. PaLEhx Legion. It's looking like they're going to commit towards this garage once again. But are they going to read that there's a lot of players from Minnesota Røkkr in that purple building?
And that's the hard part. But trying to make your way through the garage, you got to look left, right, and center. MajorManiak being primed right in front of their line sights, tagging them up and through the van. Aqua able to drop the first, but attached playing the sneaky positions. Back and forth we go in regards to gunfights, but take a look at Priestahh. To say if those players were still out in the open, there could have been a good sequence there, but bomb down, Legion are aware of it. And that was a huge kill needed for accuracy. Only peppers him up. Granted, while Legion are somewhat trapped in this position, they do have man count advantage, but accuracy repositions. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Accuracy goes big for the roster, the 3v2 clutch, and all 3 of them coming in here at the end. How about this sequence of accuracy?
Man, that was such trigger discipline, man. There's a lot of players that just don't have that, but a player of accuracy's caliber knows exactly what he needs to do in those situations. Remove the guy off bomb. Priestahh plays his life as much as he can towards that back alley and eventually sets up accuracy for the hat trick there, getting 3 on the round. Now they found themselves 1 round away from tying this up in the series at 1-1. That was a great play out of accuracy that last round, man. He commits towards that flank. Unfortunately, doesn't kill him, but then goes top purple, repositions himself. Great teamwork out of him and Priestahh. It's looking like they're going to commit towards this B-bomb now on this offense. See that number 7 player in Aqua, changing up his positioning for the first time, pushing all the way up to B side, but Fire able to open up the 1, able to get the second now. So now Minnesota are left in a 2v4 situation.
Nice double from Fire. Gonna let out some frustration, but MajorManiak sends it back to the respawn screen. Meanwhile, MajorManiak's gonna have to do this one solo. Finds the pick onto Fire, but his teammates all gone now in a much needed round, really, if you're Paris. Again, 5-2. Hoping to get this one 5-3. You like their chances to do it, but MajorManiak, see what angle he likes to take. Aqua's sitting outside, parked, ready to go, ready to give the call out, ready to take the shot. Well, you do have a nice weapon for the engagement. Aqua able to stay alive, time ticking away, and so does MajorManiak's chances at securing this round.
Yeah, it's a 3v1, bombs down, there's just no time to work with. He's just trying to pick up a couple kills just in case it goes towards that 5-5, and they do need that defensive round, but he's going to drop PaLEhx Legion with a great defensive hold right there to put the map at 5-3. All comes down to the back of Fire right here, man. They know the positioning of him. He was able to walk away with a 2-piece. No team shots came in from his teammates as well. Those are both his kills from top to bottom, man. Great 2-piece from Fire right there.
There's a rookie in Miami and another rookie in Miami making some big plays. Of course, I don't know if we're going to see anybody get to, what was it, like 18? But still, nice play. Surprising for Paris. Scraps, not having the greatest game. Usually in Search and Destroy, he's the guy leading the way. But a 1.15. Rest of the teammates, 0.9, 0.8, 0.75. So if that says anything, it's usually Scraps carrying the load for Paris in the S&Ds.
Accuracy.
They'll start to line up. Accuracy, another opportunity. He starts to see a few stars there for a moment, but Classic, finding that first blood, trying to open up things at A. And at least for right now, they've got an open sight. They get that bomb down, though, put them in a much better position. Aqua realizes such. That's the punch in the digits.
Yep, so the bomb is going to go down. A couple tacticals coming in. Unfortunately, not able to take down Aqua. So it's going to be a 4v3 situation. Fire, great positioning onto attach. Now it's going to be a 4v2. Minnesota are crumbling, and that's going to be 2 straight for the Legion. Now they find themselves down 5-4. Oh, this map is getting closer and closer as the rounds go on, man. But Fire, going huge on that late flank, was able to take down 1 and then eventually come out and get the second onto Major. Round by round, these guys are fighting back. Unfortunately, for accuracy there, everyone was in front of him. He wasn't able to take one down. At that point, it was too late for Minnesota to try to rock back and stop that plant. But now you're going to be Minnesota. You're going in on another offense. Are they going to commit this towards that A-bomb site once again? Aqua has been a handful at this site the entire map so far. Going to send 4 players towards that A site. Scraps, unfortunately, is going to get bad timing there. But Aqua, once again, opened up a 2-piece. Now it's going to be a 4v2 situation for the Røkkr.
Changes up the positioning. Great play coming in from aBeZy. 10 and 5 for him. If you're Minnesota, that just takes all the wind out of your sails. Cold and blustery night on Miami. Nothing's going to come easy as Aqua finds the third. Already the hat trick. Can he secure the ace? Only question to ask. The Scraps getting some good shots in from range. Don't want to try and overchow this one. What, very similar to just a few rounds ago. Instead, I mean, what? If you're Røkkr right now, nice nades coming in, really just providing a lot of great support fire. It was a 5-2, now coming to a 5-5. From your history, if you're a team like Minnesota, you're great at search and destroy, you're up the way that you are, and now you've allowed for, what, 3 rounds in a row to go the opposite direction. What do you do from a composure perspective? Whenever you're talking about, hey, we played the game well, we've lost a few rounds in a row, how do you try to regain coming into this round 11 when the momentum is clearly on the other side?
You just got to take a breather, man. You got to do exactly what's been working for you this entire map so far. You guys are up 5-2. Your offensive pushes towards that B site have been shut down. Aqua's trying to he's just changing up his positioning every single time. So if you're going to end up on another offensive push, you have to send multiple players, at least not from the same positioning, because Aqua's changing it up left and right. You have to try to eliminate him from that A site if you're committing to that. He's currently on a 4 spree. He's single-handedly holding down that A bomb site. But if you're Minnesota Røkkr, I'm just literally being aggressive. I'm going into purple right here. I'm taking control of that top B, and I'm just planting that B bomb as fast as I possibly can.
I like the call, but Minnesota, by no means being aggressive early. Classic was ready for the fight. As you can see him, he's prepared. He's ready for this first engagement. At one point, Classic was pretty high up in first blood percentages in all of the CDL. That has started to slow down as Legion's struggles in Search and Destroy began to accrue, but typical round 11, things start to slow down. Everybody focuses on that first blood. Pace slows down. It really comes down to that first engagement as things can start to explode. Fire, a great position over here at purple. He and Classic pretty much back to back, but Fire's got that positioning, and we saw him earlier in this exact same spot nearly, on a big two-piece, what kind of ignited the Legion's comeback, but not confident in the fight. He has to back up. Slowly but surely, Røkkr try to make their way over at B. Priestahh throws a few shoulders. Has to be careful, though, because here comes Classic. Scraps. They combine for one. The great team shots, and Classic is still here. Fire as well. Trying to finalize things on the MajorManiak, and how about the Legion making the 5-2 comeback in the Search and Destroy? As you called it before we started this one off, Study, but the second best team versus the second worst team, stats being thrown out the window here in stage 2 as Paris, they grab the 2-0 lead.
Oh, man, and if you're Minnesota Røkkr, that one's going to sting, man. You're up 5-2, one round away from tying up this series. Now you're going to be down 0-2 in this series, and you have to win the next 3 straight to have the potential to complete the reverse sweep. Oh, man, from top to bottom, starting at 5-2, just came down to a couple key plays. You saw what Paris Legion were able to do in that round and secure that round towards that B site, able to win the trades there. Then Aqua going huge in that previous round to just force it to a 5-5. But if you're Minnesota Røkkr right there, you have to take control of that game. You have to be aggressive, knowing exactly how the Paris Legion players have been playing their defensive so far. They have 2 players who've been staying at A and 2 players really aggressive towards purple. But that round, they decided to take their time. Time is ticking on the clock, so eventually they have to work that bomb plan with about 30 seconds left. But at that point, you force the players from Paris Legion to eventually wrap back, set up a crossfire. It was too late for Minnesota Røkkr to try to fight back in that round with the amount of time they wasted trying to develop a play there.
A big and a nice team win for Paris Legion. 12-5 for Aqua, 10-7 for Fire. Again, like I said, it has been Scraps leading the way for Legion in the S&Ds. He has somewhat of a slow performance. You expect that should be a key to victory, no pun intended, for the Minnesota Røkkr to walk away with it. However, that is not the case. Well, like I said, a great team victory for Legion. Looking better in the Search and Destroys, and when you get a victory like that, when you're down 5-2 versus a team like that, it definitely starts to make you feel pretty good. But let's go ahead and revisit that round 11 with our U.S. Army tactical play. Definitely need to kind of revisit what went wrong here for the Røkkr versus what went right for the Legion. Study, what did you see here?
So right here, you see it's 35 seconds left. So they have to make a play quick. They have no info on where the players from the Paris Legion are going to be located. Obviously, Fire gives us his positioning right there once he puts a couple shots down. But they wasted 3 nades to try to eliminate a player in that corner. And once this happens, still 25 seconds left, Priestahh is that bomb carrier. He's just trying to gain some information for his team to where these players can be located. Fortunately, he's going to drop because, like I said, it stalled enough time for that player who was at that A site to right back and pick up the back alley. And at that point, they just set up a great crossfire from the Paris Legion there. Just too much time wasted for Minnesota Røkkr on that last round. They're definitely going to have to go back and rewatch that one because they should have been able to close it out.
Yeah, what the last 2 Miamis have not treated them oh so well. But at least in terms of the Legion camp, they're sitting pretty, man. They're sitting pretty nicely when we talk about the standings, the way that things are looking right now in the group stage. A hard loss early if you are Minnesota, but hey, the series is by no means done. We've got control on Raid right after this quick break.
Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by USAA Insurance. We offer insurance that's made for the military community to help them easily protect what they've worked hard for.
Welcome back, folks, to the Toronto Home Series. It is Stage 2 and Day 2. Let's go ahead and visit our Astro Social soundboard. First things first, Fire tweeted out earlier this morning, been a year since I started competing. Time is flying. Love to see that from the rookie. Like I said, Fire had a quick come up kind of through the challenger scene. It's been great. I know we kind of got a chance to look at that graphic earlier of all of our rookies, but Fire, he has been a standout for Legion at times. I think he's kind of only improved as the series have kind of started to go on study. I know to kind of start off the season, everybody was saying, hey, Fire, he's not kind of been that player. It's been more of Scraps and Aqua, but he's starting to turn up for the team. That's the reason why that hardpoint has been so good, and he's going to be one of the key contributors coming into this control, which has statistically been very good for the Minnesota Røkkr, and our quick scope, obviously presented by Scuff.
Yeah, and we're talking about the control for the Paris Legion. They have 2 players that are going to be sitting overall throughout the entire season so far, top 6 in KDs, which is going to be Aqua and Scraps. That 1-2 punch we were talking about in those keys to victory, especially on a map and a mode like Control Raid. When we're looking at this, Minnesota Røkkr, obviously, the whole momentum shift for them. They were up 5-2 on that map number 2. Eventually, they lose that map. So now it's all about trying to complete that reverse sweep. It's all going to start with this map right here, man. And when you're talking about it for the Paris Legion, you need to be able to shut down players like Scraps, like Aqua, who really tend to dominate in this game mode.
Yeah, as you called it, they've really been the 1-2 punch without doubt. Like those 2 players literally coming at you one. Second one tries to take you down, but still, I gotta say, Study, what we talked in the, it was in the middle of kind of Minnesota melting in regards to the last Search and Destroy. I said, hey, how do you start to come back from this? When we talk about losing momentum, and especially in a mode that kind of is where a lot of their confidence lies, how do you regain, what needs to be said in the comms coming into this next control as you look at an 0-2 series right now?
Honestly, everyone just needs to take a chill pill. You all need to take a deep breath and realize that we are in this situation because we messed up. That's all about us just eliminating those mistakes and just perfecting our gameplay to try to fight back in this series. You see what Paris Legion right off the rip are trying to do. They're trying to get some early ticks onto that B point. They're going to have 3, so time is going to be flying. You're going to need a couple players from Minnesota Røkkr to try to set up a pinch, but Priestahh, he's going to drop to Aqua. Here comes the second tick already on this B point. Is it going to be enough time for Minnesota to try to work this out? The entire time you see that number 1 player all the way on the opposite side of the map. 2 kills are going to go in favor of Classic, and that's going to be the B point, just like that.
And usually, roles reverse, right? We were talking about Raid earlier, and it is strictly about going for A, getting that time. B is the one that you kind of rely on later, but Paris making it look simple off the start. Again, accuracy's kind of been hanging out over at that A point. Unfortunately, he's been listening to a lot of negative comms, calling out one-shots, calling out, hey, this guy's alive over here, but nothing really all that positive to start. If you're Minnesota, a lot of time for Paris, and again, on a point that sits pretty well, and they have all been up in that kitchen position, but nice haymaker coming in from accuracies. He's able to find 2, so trying to delay that push, but it's Classic, the sole player on the point right now for Paris.
Paris Legion, they're going to have the positioning to try to cut these players off from Minnesota. They're going to have to try to break in. Classic's going to open up with the first blood. Priestahh with the trace through the pillars. Trying to go for the second on the Scraps. Yes, he does. Now it's going to be Aqua. He's going to drop, so that's going to slow down the push for the Paris Legion. Paris Legion do currently have a 3 live advantage. But if you're Minnesota right there, you got to be feeling really good. You shut down that push. Now you're able to fight for some map control and eventually keep this clock ticking.
If that QBZ start to go to work for Classic, unfortunately, he's looking at his front. Really, the flank is what he has to be conscious of.
This is open. It's open now.
I say some nice annoying plays for Minnesota, but they get caught off. Paris, as you said, Study, they'll hop right into the point. They're 2 ticks through, 1 more away from finding their opening offense. Minnesota, can they get to the point in time? Attach is the only player who can do so, but the crossfire coming in from Zig is going to lock him up as Paris keep the momentum going.
Oh, man, they're aggressive. Their aggression right now is on point. You can just tell the momentum is definitely in their favor. Classic right here was making tremendous plays, able to open up a 2-piece in kitchen, eventually closing out the third on a MajorManiak. But they get that B point nice and early, man. If you're Minnesota, you need to be able to counter that, not give that up right off the rip. Trying to hold that A site is a pretty difficult task to get done. And Minnesota, unfortunately, they're going to find themselves down 0-1 on this map number 3. Going into their offense, let's see if they're going to try to mimic what the Legion just did. Trying to work towards that early B point. This looks like they're committing towards A.
Defense, it can be a struggle. It can be a problematic spot. Classic fire. All of them responding early. They've got to be hyped. Let's go to the Astro Gaming listen-in with the Paris Legion.
Bottom right door, bottom right door.
Let me know if you need help. I remit. Blue, let me know if you need help. I got you.
Yeah, they just flash at me again. They're playing you guys again.
Driveway.
Bottom right door, dead.
Nice. Two. Z dead. I got him. Where's Z, Nick? He got away. Pretty close streaks. Yo, I'm getting
Bottom right door. Yeah.
I flashed them back, guys.
Nope, I'm
Let him be dead.
Bottom mark. That was the guy's leg.
Bottom right door, dead.
Nice job. Just keep holding.
Priestahh should be ramp.
Yep.
I just go down. He's just spawned.
He's white man in north. I gave him mid.
Two ramp.
I'll pick up
Ramp two. I have streaks. Kill this guy.
Spawning there again.
Nice guy, left side. I have an artillery. Let him touch A. I have an artillery.
There's only one guy on it. I got him. One ramp.
Are
you blocking bench?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Push me pillars.
I'm streaking this.
Okay. I'm gonna hold.
2-8.
We hear really kind of toward the end of that listen, and Aqua says, hey, I'm going to go and call in the streaks up early. Legion looking so dominant in this round 2 of Control here, Study. Minnesota just currently in a world of pain, trying to make their way off of spawn, but it has been Paris Legion. Hey, we continue to say it for a reason. These guys are turning up in the respawns, and the rookie especially is putting an exclamation point here on Raid.
Oh, man, just looking at the improvement that these guys have made from stage 1 to stage 2, it's showing, man, in every single game mode. They clutch up in that search and destroy. We were talking about it in the Control, how Raid in general was not a good map for them for every single game mode. And so far, they are getting the job done. Aqua got a nice set of streaks right there to keep them off the point. But if you're Minnesota Røkkr, someone needs to spring life. Someone needs to give that spark for this team in order to fight back in this series. Your backs are completely against the wall. Paris Legion have every single piece of momentum on their side. If you're Minnesota, you just got to do it, man. It's going to look at accuracy.
Who does the player have to be for Minnesota? Straight up.
It has to be Priestahh. It has to be Priestahh, especially with that submachine gun, how aggressive that the players from Paris Legion are really setting right off the rip as they get 4 down. But they just didn't have any good stats across the board. 4-11 for one player, 3-11 for the other. MajorManiak currently at 5-12. Just not keeping up in the slaying department, man. They're currently up by 4 lives, and they're doing a better job so far on this defensive hold. But can they withstand the pushes from the Paris Legion once again? 2 are going to go down. And now you're going to see Minnesota trying to just play their lives in kitchen. Because now you see players working towards that A point. That's going to be the first tick at A. It's going to spawn all the players from Minnesota Røkkr towards that back rock. And they're also working at B as well.
This is just great work across the map. Well, they've got 2 players over at A, 2 players over at B. And they're constantly gaining over in these points. What, 1 tick left now over at A? That's like, great. Okay, cool, Minnesota. You got the clearance over at B. But again, Paris, they've got a lot of that work done. They get a tick through at B. That's big. They now also are going to have 2 minutes to work with. Granted, live count not in their hands, but Minnesota, that early start, what you need to see from this team. And again, as you kind of look through the stats right now, it hasn't been great, but this could be the moment. This is Paris's first break opportunity toward the backside. Great team shots. Fire's able to walk away with the kill. Current 3 spree for him. Some presence trying to be gained inside of that kitchen position, but they're just going to walk right in. There's nobody actually sitting inside of money. MajorManiak has to go big. Only a few shots left in the clip, and the AR shots from the top side. Accuracy finally is able to get inside of money. That first push, nice hold from Røkkr.
Yeah, they were able to shut down that push. I thought Fire was making tremendous plays going through basketball court. But unfortunately, MajorManiak was able to answer with a huge 2-piece to just keep the players from the Legion off. Now, it's all about trying to hold them once again. Major's in a great position to try to take down both, but he's going to get traded by Scraps. And it's Classic going to be able to spot accuracy on these steps He's going to walk right by. Accuracy is not going to be able to spot him either. But here comes the shots from Accuracy, able to give him positioning. 2 are going to drop. Now Minnesota had to try to fight through middle map. Here comes the second tick for Paris Legion. Both players are trying to come down from the steps. MajorManiak's going to be the only one in a position to try to get towards the point. They're almost going to do this, Lando. It's going to be a clean 3-0 if they can just stop this one more push from the Minnesota Røkkr.
Classic, he gets so much work done on the objective because Accuracy doesn't spot him, but Accuracy has to go big again. He ends up getting dropped as well. So 40 seconds left, and you're looking at that B point. Classic on the flank. This could be the play. This could be the play. 3 go down. Last member alive is going to be Accuracy toward the basketball court. He drops as well. And how about the sweep from Legion, winning the control 3-0 and getting their second sweep in the CDL. The Røkkr crumble as the Legion ultimately are showing so much improvements. And this is kind of the thing that we talked about starting to start off the day. It was like, hey, you know, how are teams going to improve from stage 1 to stage 2? Paris, they improve in the S&Ds. The raid respawns are looking better. Minnesota on the other side, not closing out S&Ds, not winning hard points. A much different kind of vibe and a much different feel when you talk about a 3-0 like that.
Yeah, man, definitely. If you're Minnesota Røkkr, this one's gonna sting, man. You lose that Search and Destroy, which is your best game mode, and eventually you drop the series down 0-3. But if you're the Paris Legion, hats off to you guys, man. Unbelievable work has to be getting done in the backfield for these guys when you talk about the coaching, when you talk about prepping for these matches. And it definitely has showed, man. These guys fall all the way back in that Search and Destroy. We were talking about it in the Keys to Victory, how they need to completely remove raid from all their game modes, and they get it done here, man, in 2 different raids on a hardpoint and a control in a complete dominant fashion. That control wasn't even close. They had the momentum. They dominated every single round. Classic was going huge off of every pinch, but it was all on scraps. It was all on Aqua with those assault rifles, really setting up those submachine gun players, man. Just a phenomenal series from top to bottom from the Legion.
Yeah, man, like I said, I think it was what, the round 2 where we go to the listen-in, and Legion, I mean, they could not be stopped. Like, they were just, they just had a point to prove, I guess, when it came down to this raid control. Again, a team that we talk about in the respawns, we kind of talked about in hardpoint especially. Hey, you know what, Garrison's kind of been their strong suit. Minnesota get rid of it, and they're able to prove everybody wrong. Just this team has been so good at certain stretches. I know they don't perform well when it comes down to the stage 1 major, but again, that's a statement game, right? That is a statement victory early on in stage 1, or excuse me, in stage 2. They obviously have that happen in stage 1 as well, but I guess when you look at the other side for Minnesota, it's just, it hurts, man. It definitely hurts. Let's go ahead and revisit, obviously, that last game with our scuff play of the game. We'll kind of revisit exactly what we witnessed over on that control. And it really kind of comes down to these final sequences in all 3 of these rounds study. Legion clutching up and going big when it matters most.
Yeah, so you see it right off the rip. This is the very first round of the map. They take that B control, which is really difficult task to get done, especially the way that they did it. And once they eliminate that, they force all the players from the Røkkr to spawn out towards waterside, towards back basketball. Trying to flood them over through that middle pillars is pretty difficult task to get done. And even on their defensive hold, they didn't give up a single tick on any one of these points, man. It was just complete dominant from start to finish. You heard in the comms, I was like, Scraps, are you canceling that bedroom spawn? Are you making sure that someone is pushed up all the way towards that left street so no one has that ability to push up towards B? And in that very last round, it just came down to Fire. You see Fire in the position that he's in. He was able to stay alive just enough time to set up Classic to get this 2-piece. Eventually, he gets the 3rd. That's going to be 3 down for Minnesota. All of them spawning out towards back laundry. Fortunately, at that point, it was too late, man. Like I said, Paris Legion, they just came out to play, man, and it definitely showed.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Everybody kind of had their moments. We talked about the rookie making the big plays. Everybody kind of stepping up when they needed to. And again, it's the statement victory early on. When we talk about these games, when you're in these early groups, it is important, right, to have solid performances. Both of these teams were not able to make it out of the groups, at least in terms of the winner side of things. But let's go and take a look at Paris Legion, their Stage 2 road to the major, and it is not going to be a fun next few weeks, but hey, they got OpTic tomorrow, Dallas Empire, Surge, and Mutineers in terms of the way the rest of their kind of schedule outlook goes. I believe I'm going to be on the call with Joey D tomorrow versus Chicago, and I'm excited to see how that one plays out. I think Paris are in a great mindset right now coming into that series versus Chicago. It should be a good one.
Yeah, it definitely should be a good one, man. The way Paris Legion just came out to play today, they've improved so far in their worst game mode, which was Search and Destroy, and in those respawns, in raids specifically. They win 2 of them today to get the job done in a 3-0 fashion. Hats off to them, man.
Yeah, definitely. Hats off to those boys. Obviously, in terms of the scheduling, Florida Mutineers not happening twice. They'll obviously face off against the Dallas Empire at some point, but hey, all good. No worries. Røkkr, again, a rough road ahead for the boys of Minnesota. Like I said, so when it comes down to the stages, when it comes down to these matches, I know there was a lot of talk kind of coming into the year saying like, hey, how is the format going to work? Is this really going to be a good step coming into this season? So, man, I love it. It is so fascinating. It is so interesting. Every match means something. And when we talk about this game early on from Minnesota, you'd say, hey, this is not looking good. Like, our chances of trying to be in that winner side for the major, it's not looking pretty because you got to win the games you're expected to. And upsets, they can happen, but it's hard to rely on them, Studdy.
And the thing that scares me most about this Røkkr roster is just like, what's not working? Obviously, the hard point is not working for this team, but what is going to be the solution? We heard in those comms, they know exactly what they need to get done. It's just when they're fully set up and they have to win a couple gunfights that they're not able to win. So it's going to give the other team the easy break, and every single time they're just giving up that junk time, rotating early, trying to get a full setup, and it's just not working for them, man. And it's scary for Minnesota because if it doesn't work for this stage 2, what happens to this roster?
Yeah, I know we talked about like role changes too, like maybe that could possibly be in order. Like we saw, obviously, the Thieves change things up with Kenny and Temp. Maybe you think about something with Priestahh. I think it was like Merc and Maven, obviously on the Hardpoints podcast, talking like how that could be a thing. But hey, obviously we'll change things for another day. Astro Social Soundboard, again, it's fire. We love his tweets. You got to follow him on Twitter, Fire40. He says, what? I'm telling you, the resilience and composure of this team is unreal. Great team win. GG's Røkkr 130. Hashtag on guard. Love to see it, man. Again, 100%. Like, that was a great team victory, and the composure in that search and destroy, it speaks volumes to the way that this Paris team works. Yeah. A lot of motivated players on this team, a lot of guys who kind of weren't given that second chance opportunity, a lot of players who weren't kind of looked upon to be, I guess you could say, returning players for their teams, and they're showing out, man. They're showing the CDL a few things.
Yeah, it's the team that nobody wanted, man, and that could be the perfect formula to the recipe that you were creating, man. And right now, it's definitely showing for Paris Legion. They're only improving after every series that they play, and I'm excited to see them versus OpTic tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun series, without a doubt. And I wanted to ask you quickly, in regards to that role change, when we talk about things like, is that something that could come about? I'll save that question for just a moment. We got to take a look at Miles' tweets. Astro Social Soundboard. He was coming at me yesterday. We got to see what he's saying. Legion are legit. No more sleeping on them. Perfect turnaround. Couldn't agree more with Miles. Again, all signs positive for the Paris Legion and the way that they're sitting right now. And I think Miles kind of said it right there. Legion are legit. And again, if you're Røkkr, you're kind of looking at this loss. Obviously, it's a positive for Legion. It is a strict negative for you. Do you think we maybe see a role change be thought about? I mean, you have a few days, right, if you're Minnesota, to possibly try to change things up. Are you looking at a role change? I mean, what really needs to happen for Minnesota? Because things are by no means great right now.
Yeah, something has to give, especially in the hardpoint thing. They're the worst team overall in the hardpoint game mode, 2-8 on the season. And something's just not clicking there. So you have to change up something, probably switch Priestahh over to that flex role, move MajorManiak over to the strict sub, or just move Attach either to the flex role and have MajorManiak run the sub as well. But there's just so many things that this team can get done. They just have to put it all together, man, especially in that hard point. They have to start winning those if they want to start winning some series.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of talk about like ARs, SMGs. We obviously have the role change kind of coming a little bit with the QBZ now being introduced. So who knows, man? There's a lot of things to kind of discuss as the day comes to a close. But one of the primary topics that we're talking after today is this guy Insight. I mean, we got to talk about it again, man. Insight was absolutely insane. Again, if you have not watched the series, you got to go back. Take a tune in if you want the TLDR version. Here are some highlights. Insight, by the way, when he tied the overall highest streak at 11 kills in a row. When he ties Methods, the player that he fills in for, he ties, I think it was what, TJ on the other end. Just had an unbelievable performance in this hardpoint here.
Yeah, and you know, when they announced Insight stepping in for Methods, there was a lot of flack being thrown his way because Methods was their best overall player. But you silence all the haters after this series right here. Unfortunately, you do drop the series, but like you said, 11 kill spree in the respawn, 18 kills in Search and Destroy, sets the record for the entire season of the CDL this year, and just single-handedly kills. If you're Insight, man, like I said, you drop the series, but you have a great road ahead of you, and you started off on the right foot.
I know, like, there was a lot of talk on Twitter, like, saying, like, hey, you know, obviously Insight not able to kind of be the difference maker for Ultra, so there is kind of that, but I think at the very least, if you are the Ultra franchise, if you're the organization, you're like, guys, we just found the dude. Like, we just found the player, potentially. I know we're talking about Rookie of the Year. It's his first series. Like, you know, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. We like to do that in Call of Duty. But still, I mean, what? Like I said, he has one of the best debuts, I think, that I've ever seen. We're not talking about a tournament. We're talking about a single match, your first one. You're put pretty much right in the spotlight. Everybody's looking at you. Everybody's talking about how the Ultra, oh, they made a mistake. Method's not the right call. Well, of course, that's still yet to be decided. We'll obviously see how that kind of goes. But from Insight's perspective, to be introduced to this team with all the flack that he received, it's great to see the rookie showing out for the team, especially at their home series, by the way.
It definitely is, man. The guy's a diamond in the rough, man. And if he continues on for this roster, Hardpoint 1.4, S&D 2.7, but you see that control. That's where they did drop that map. He had a 0.74, but it's your very first control. And you were playing on the map that you guys had the most reps in. It wasn't Toronto's best map overall. Now they're 2-5 of raid control. Obviously, with more time, more preparation going into the rest of the series throughout stage 2. Hopefully they become a lot better at that map.
Yeah, like I said, the control, kind of the one negative right now for Toronto. I mean, there's obviously things to look at, but in terms of just strictly game modes, the control has to step out in regards to their future series. We're talking a lot about how, you know, certain teams need to work on game modes. We talked about Minnesota with their search and destroys. Obviously, Paris looking better, or we talk about Minnesota looking at their hard points. For Paris, it's looking at the search and destroys. There we go. We got a few things mixed up. But I think right now for Ultra as well, you're looking at those controls, looking to try to improve things. But let's go and pop up our schedule for tomorrow. Again, the matches only continue. We're hoping for some more Game 5, some more madness. But what? We just got to take a look at Paris Legion. We get to watch them tomorrow. I don't want to say bright and early, but hey, you know, we're all gamers. We stay up pretty late from time to time. 3 p.m. Eastern time, facing off against the Chicago OpTic. Next game, Florida Mutineers taking on the Minnesota Røkkr. Minnesota off of the loss. How do they start to change things versus Florida coming into tomorrow? And then finally, our Game Fuel marquee match, Dallas Empire taking on the Seattle Surge. I don't know about you, Studdy. I'm super excited to watch the Surge and watch how Dallas kind of rebounds off of their stage 1 loss. I mean, that team obviously very hungry. Rambo, the entire team. I know that's a roster that heavily wants to try to prove maybe a lot of people wrong in regards to where they sit in the ranks right now. A lot of people in power rankings are not really sure where to put Empire. Do you put them 2, 3? Like, where do you kind of sit those guys right now? But I'm excited to see how everybody turns out tomorrow. It's going to be a great day of COD.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that OpTic and Paris matchup. We saw OpTic in the major. They got smoked by New York in a 3-0 to get eliminated top 4. Hopefully they're able to bounce back tomorrow versus Paris, but the way Paris is looking, they're not easy. They're not easy to be slept on. You got to make sure you're going to keep your head forward when you're playing.
Absolutely, man. A solid performance, solid team win, right, as Fire said over on Twitter. But hey, we still got a little more stuff to come when we come back after this quick commercial break. It is Lottie standing by with Aqua.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I am joined by the one and only aBeZy from Paris Legion. aBeZy, I gotta ask you, dude, you know, Paris Legion, they've really become the underdog of this season, but an underdog that has very much progressed up to the top here. You know, we've seen you guys dueling with Atlanta FaZe, taking them to game 5s. We've seen you now take down many teams going into that major, and we've just seen you take down Røkkr 3-0 in the first series that you guys have played in Stage 2. How are you guys feeling about going through Stage 2, and really what have you done to prepare for it?
We definitely been taking our scrims more serious. Obviously trying to eliminate all the mistakes that we do in scrims and taking it to a real match and not do that. And it's been paying off. I mean, we're just working and keep grinding.
Absolutely, I think you know, it's really paying off. We're seeing so much improvement for you guys. You know, I saw that, you know, Fire's really started to turn up the heat a little bit here for all you guys, and your hard points are definitely gaining so much more improvement and momentum. And it's, you know, really been a vital part of that all of you are playing so lights out. So what has really changed for you as a team, as your structure, to really see that improvement so early on?
Definitely the change with Scraps and Fire helped a lot. We put Scraps in an AR and then Fire into a sub, and it's just been paying off. You see Fire just doing some deadly things on the hill, and just he plays way better like that.
For sure. Now, aBeZy, last question for you, man. Where do you, as Paris Legion, see yourself sitting by the end of Stage 2? Where do you see yourselves on the leaderboard?
Definitely first. That's what I'm aiming for. That's my goal for this team, is to win and definitely come out of champs and just try to win that too.
I love it. The confidence is oozing in your gameplay, and we love to see it. aBeZy, thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations, and best of luck going forward through Stage 2, man.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, folks. That was an epic interview with aBeZy, and we can really feel the confidence coming across from Paris Legion themselves. And what an excellent performance from them. You know, we have plenty more action coming tomorrow. We're going to have a look right now at our US Army schedule and what we have in store for you, because boy, it's going to be one hell of a day. We've got an extra match on the cards. We've got OpTic versus Legion heading up tomorrow. We've got Mutineers versus Røkkr, and then our Game Fuel marquee match rounding the day off. We've got Empire taking on Surge, which really should be a big game considering how Surge have been playing as of recent. So will Empire be up to scratch, or will Surge take it once again? It's going to be really cool, so make sure you guys don't miss it. Well, you know what? That's all she wrote for day 2 of the Toronto Ultra Home Series. We will be back on your screens tomorrow, 12 PM Pacific, 3 PM Eastern, for more Call of Duty League action.
Bang, 50 pulled up with the cups and the cake. Count a few bucks when the money inflate. I ain't in a rush cause we did it my way. But there's money right here, so you better not trip. Oh yeah. Shawty don't trip, yeah. Shawty don't trip, check. Shawty don't, ayy, yeah. Shawty don't trip, yeah. Shawty don't trip.